everybody. Hi. I hope everybody's having a wonderful Saturday. I am having a good Saturday, just relaxing. Got up kind of early today, went out, got myself some breakfast, went and did some errands. I was back home by 2, and now I'm just sort of relaxing. So I decided to do a vlog for today, and you'll probably see maybe in the next few weeks a few more vlogs from me on the weekends, because my husband is now working on the weekends and he's off during the week when I usually do stuff, my vlogs, but he's off during the week, so I'll be spending time with him. So he's off Mondays and Tuesdays and working Saturdays and Sundays. Now, if you don't know, my husband is what's called a quality engineer. And my husband is trained as a manufacturing engineer, which means that he usually works in manufacturing plants. And he works in the aerospace industry, so he makes airplanes and stuff. He makes airplanes for the government, and he works with Boeing and all sorts of stuff. And as a quality engineer, he makes sure that the parts that people put on planes are made correctly, which is not as easy as it may sound. Now, my husband is a brilliant man, and if you are married to an engineer or know an engineer, you know how smart they are. He can do anything around this house. He puts everything together. That's why I love him so much. He puts everything together perfectly, okay? Because with an engineer, it has to be done perfect, or he can't do it at all. So nothing's ever half done, which is fabulous, because he puts everything together, all the stuff in the house together, and it is perfect, and he engineers it perfectly. So I'm always happy. It's like, oh, stuff is complete. And so I'm always happy with him kind of doing projects around it, around the house. But he's a really handy guy too. Not only is he an engineer, he's also really handy, and has always been really handy. He knows how to make stuff. He knows how to build stuff. When he was in college, he worked on concrete. He worked in concrete, so he's super strong and stuff. So it's really nice to have a handy man around the house, okay? But he's just a great guy, just kind of all in general. So, well, he's working on the weekends now because they've got a big project coming up, so they're trying to have people there 7 days a week, but not have people working 7 days a week and stuff. So he took the weekend shift and stuff. I think he likes, my husband is very introverted and shy, and he just likes to sort of be alone and work and stuff, you know. So I think he loves working on the weekends and stuff. I hear from him all the time during the week. On the weekends, I never hear from him. He doesn't call at all and stuff. So today I'm going to be talking about looking for love in all the wrong places. And I read a tweet the other day from Paul Carrick Brunson, which I thought was very telling, and I repeated it, and I've been repeating it, and I've been talking about it. And I was talking about people looking for love, but not really prepared for love, you know. So instead of looking, you should be prepping. And I've said that again and again and again. I've said that a million times. People are looking, and I know people want love. I can understand that. That's a human need, is for us to be loved and to be cherished by people. We want love from our families. We want love from our significant others. We want love from our spouses, our children, and stuff like that. We want love from our friends. We want to be loved. But when it comes to out of the romance part for us, you know, most of the time we're looking for love. Everybody's out there looking for love and trying to find somebody, but nobody sort of preps for love. And particularly I'm talking about a bunch of black women who talk to me all the time about wanting to find somebody and wanting to meet somebody, and people telling me, oh, I'd love to meet somebody like your husband. And I'm always thinking, why? My husband is perfect for me. That does not mean that he would be perfect for you. So why would you want to meet my husband? Why don't you find somebody that's good for you? I mean, that's the thought, is that you find someone who's perfect for you and stuff, not the someone that's perfect for me. And but I'm always thinking, when I hear people say that, and when they talk about that, and then they say other stuff, I think to myself, you're not really prepped for love. You're not really prepared for love. You're not really ready to maybe receive love. So why are you looking? Now listen, when you look for stuff, usually you find it, okay? It's just sort of how it happens. But that doesn't mean that you need to find it. That doesn't mean that you need it in your life, okay? And stuff. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about prepping for love. How do you get prepared for love? And sort of maybe a little bit of my story of how I got prepared to sort of have the love of my life sort of come into my life. One of the first things I tell people all the time is to do some introspection. I know I've said it. I know it may seem sort of blasé, or maybe it seems contrite to some people, but I'll say it and I'll say it again and I'll say it forever. If you don't do any introspection, if you don't take any time out to be honest about yourself and about your issues and about the stuff that you might be lacking and things like that, you're never going to be able to get the love that you want, or even give the love to the person that you're with that they deserve, okay? The first thing is being introspective. So what does that mean? That means taking some time away. I say that all the time. When people break up, do not get back into another relationship. I don't really understand people. I don't understand people who do that. But I know a lot of people do. They break up and then the next month they're dating somebody else and all this stuff. And I'm just thinking, well, what happened to the point where you were broken up with a person, where you had some time to sort of think about the relationship, maybe what went bad about the relationship, what you learned, the lessons that you learned from the relationship? What happened to that time? If you just jump from sort of person to person to person and stuff, you never have any time to kind of put things in perspective, to figure out how to do things better the next time, or how to draw someone to you that you really deserve. Introspection starts on the inside with you, okay? And I know there's a lot of people that are not really introspective, and that's really too bad and stuff, you know. But if you want to start talking about finding the love that you deserve, or prepping for love and stuff, you need to be introspective. You need to figure out whatever issues you have, and then you need to figure out how to resolve those if they're really, really serious. You know, all of us have some issues, and many people's issues particularly for black women, I've noticed a lot of their issues come down to them not having healthy boundaries. So either they're codependent, and I'm going to talk about codependency in a little while. I'm going to talk about codependency in another vlog in maybe a couple of weeks or a week or so, where they're either codependent or they're controlling, or they're codependent and controlling. They are, they're dismissive, and people have other issues, passive aggressive and things like that. So those sort of issues where people don't have, or needy, where people don't have healthy boundaries, for themselves and for other people, can certainly make for a bad relationship and stuff. It can make for some real big issues. How do you get healthy boundaries? There's a couple of ways. There's lots of books about boundaries and getting boundaries. If you want to go see a therapist, you can certainly go see a therapist and stuff. But you really need to be honest with yourself about what is your issue. Do you have an issue regarding abandonment and emotional abuse from childhood? Do you have issues regarding sexual abuse or physical abuse that you haven't really resolved yet and figured out, and stuff? Do you have, issues of being really needy with people and not being able to sort of let people be themselves and be able to let them go and know that they'll come back to you? Whatever issues that you have and that you maybe had in previous relationships or in a previous relationship, you really need to think about and figure out how to resolve. Books and therapy are two of the ways that I would approach that. They're the best ways. And there's lots of books. And there's lots of people who do really great therapy. Hey, if you go to therapy and you don't like the therapist, you don't figure they're helping you, or they're really helping you, giving you tools for you to, get on with your life and move on with your life, then maybe you need to leave them alone. That's the point of going to a therapist, is they're supposed to be giving you some tools to help you have a better life and stuff. So once you come to that sort of point, where you're having healthy boundaries and you figured out some things about yourself and some stuff that you want to resolve and stuff, things that you maybe want to let go regarding yourself. If you have smaller issues that you're figuring out how to rid yourself of and stuff, and you do that sort of stuff, then it starts with loving yourself. No one can love you if you don't love yourself. And I'm not talking about arrogance, because arrogance isn't really love. People who are arrogant usually have an issue where they really don't love themselves, and the arrogance is covering that up and stuff. I'm talking about people who are confident in themselves and confident in who they are. Whatever it is that you need to do to gain that confidence or to gain that self-esteem, you need to do it. Now, having healthy boundaries is a good way, and having people that honor your healthy boundaries is a good way for you to gain good self-esteem. I cannot tell you how important it is for you to have healthy boundaries to gain good self-esteem, okay, and stuff, and to really love yourself and to figure out, you know what, there's stuff that I don't have to accept, and there's stuff that I don't have to take, and this is me, and this is the other person, and we're separate individual people. We're not the same person and stuff. Even though in marriage you may come in and become one, you're still separate people, and you're still, and you don't have to put all of yourself into that person and not get any of your needs met. And that's what it means to talk about loving yourself. Now let me tell you, I love me some Eugenia. I love myself. You can't really find, I don't know, I really do love me. I really, really do love me, okay? And I have faced some real big challenges, in my life and in relationships, particularly with my ex-husband. I faced a lot of challenges. But if it wasn't for the love that I had for myself, I wouldn't have been able to leave him and to figure out, something is wrong with this situation. Something is not right about this marriage. Something is lacking here, and I'm not getting something that I need, and I need to move on. If I hadn't had any love for myself, I probably would have stayed there, been codependent forever, took the emotional abuse forever, and just been old and being emotionally abused and being unloved for the rest of my life. But I knew something was wrong. It took me some time to figure it out, but I finally did. And when I did, I was like, okay, it's time for me to get out of here and to move away from here, specifically because he wasn't trying to make any changes or do anything differently. So once I figured that out, and then I figured out, okay, I have to figure out how to, love me more so I can draw someone to me that's worthy of me, and stuff. And I'll say that again. You don't draw what you want. You draw who you are. That's why it's important for you to resolve any issues that you might have regarding yourself, is because you'll draw what you are, okay, and stuff. And if you're insecure, and if you're not confident, and if you're codependent, specifically if you're codependent, and most likely you'll end up drawing somebody that's a narcissist, because codependent and narcissists they are really drawn to each other. Now, narcissists will date other people, but the codependent and narcissist goes together kind of like peanut butter and jelly, okay, and stuff. And so you'll end up drawing that person to you. You're not prepped or preparing for love when you do that, and if you don't love yourself, you certainly can't love anybody else. There's no way to love other people or to give to people, and stuff, if you have nothing to give. If you're being used and everything's being taken and nothing's being returned, if you have nothing to give, how do you give to anybody what it is that they're worthy of, And in the long line of kind of prepping for loving somebody and being in a relationship, you maybe need to take examples of good relationships that you've seen and take stuff that you've seen. Now, there's some people that have never seen a good relationship, not never, ever. If you haven't, read a book. That's the best thing I can tell you about anything. If you don't know something, read a book, okay? There are tons of books about all sorts of stuff. Read a book and figure it out. Find another couple wherever you're at your local church, in local organizations maybe you belong to, or people that you maybe work with. Find another couple that maybe is somebody that you and a person that you love can maybe become close to, that can mentor you and give you some information and insight on how to make a relationship work, how to make a marriage work and stuff. If you've just never seen it, it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It just doesn't mean you haven't seen it, but it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. You can find someone, another couple, to maybe mentor you and your spouse or your boyfriend or whatever and stuff, fiance or whatever and stuff, about how to become a really good couple and stuff. Now in my case, I had my mom and dad. Although my dad died at 9, I remember very distinctly my mom and dad's marriage and them being married to one another, and what a good example of love and sacrifice and compassion and giving they had. And I mean really unconditional love, and how much in love they were with each other and how much they loved us. But really, as husband and wife, they really loved each other and adored each other and stuff, which as a child, you just see your parents sort of, they love each other, but you're really not sure. You're just a kid. So they love each other, but you're not really sure to the depth that they do. And it's not until I got older and, sort of started to realize really the depth and breadth that my parents really loved one another and stuff. And what a wonderful example that was. How did I get an example of what a good husband was? Well, my dad was a good husband. So my dad was an example of what a good husband was. So when I started to look for a husband, again, on the second time, because the first time I decided to just be stupid and just do whatever I wanted and not even listen and stuff, or not even take that example and stuff. On the second time, I decided, you know what, I'm really going to look for someone very similar to my father, and stuff. And similar in character. And I'm not talking about similar in looks. I mean similar in character and stuff. And I was going to look for somebody like that. And when I found my husband, or when we found each other, that's what I found. By the time we found each other, I was prepped and ready to go, and stuff. Now, looking for love and finding love and prepping for love also means that you have to know how to receive love. That's not always easy. And people think it's really easy, but it's not always easy. That's not always easy, especially if you have not been loved in your life, if you've just had judgment, or if you had love on condition regarding family, and stuff like that. It's not easy to accept unconditional love because you're not used to that. We're just used to what we're used to and stuff, and that's what I mean about getting your issues taken care of, and stuff. If you're really not used to somebody giving you love and caring about you and taking care of you and being compassionate to you and loving you and being kind and gracious and merciful towards you, then it's really hard to receive those things. Either you feel that they're fake and the person is not really doing that, they really want something else, or you feel like you're undeserving of those things. And sometimes you'll do this self-sabotage thing, which I tried to do even myself when I first was in the relationship with my now husband and stuff. Even I tried to do the self-sabotage and stuff because there was still a part of me that was stuck in this mode of, I've just had all these bad relationships, and it just can't be this good relationship out there. And when I sort of let that go, when I let the notions of the past go, when I let my past go, when I let that go and figure, you know what, I'm a new person. This is a new day. This is a new time, and stuff. And I know more, and I understand more, and I've experienced more, and I've got more wisdom, and I've got more knowledge. So I can't sort of just be with this thing where it's just going to be like it was before, because that's really sort of a lie, and stuff. That was a lie that I was telling myself. Now, once you come in and you decide you're going to receive, and you're going to receive the really unconditional love that another person is giving you as part of the prep, then there comes the point of intimacy and vulnerability. Yikes. Intimacy and vulnerability, I think, are two maybe hard things, particularly for black women, because we are not encouraged or told that it's okay for us to be vulnerable. Most of us have been told that we have to keep our guard up and that we have to always be on the defense because we don't know who's coming to get us. You know, something about being black and growing up in the black community and black neighborhoods and with black families, there's always this underlying sense of paranoia about everything, you know, and stuff. And I think we all sort of have it, you know, and stuff. That I had to, it's a lot of stuff I had to unlearn, you know, and stuff. Because there's always this underlying sense of sort of being paranoid that somebody's out to get you or something is going to happen. And particularly for black women going into interracial relationships, listen, you've heard it all. White men going to do this, white men that, they don't really love you, they just want to have sex with you, they're never going to marry you, blah, 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 and all this stuff. And talking about being intimate and vulnerable, when you find somebody and stuff, is really a hard notion. Intimacy takes time, but you have to be vulnerable to be intimate, which means that you have to sort of let your guard down, which is not the easiest thing because you open yourself up to the risk of getting hurt. I'm not telling you that when you decide to receive love and let your guard down and all this stuff, it's all going to be happy and, you know, flowers are going to spring out of the you know, out of the ground, and the rainbow's going to come into the air and birds are going to start singing and all that stuff. It may not go like that. You may end up being disappointed, you know, and stuff. By doing that, you may end up being disappointed, but you can't be so heartbroken that you close yourself in, because what I could have done after my ex-husband and I broke up and got divorced is I could have just built a wall around myself. I just closed myself in and I would be safe, but I couldn't let anything in. I would build a wall instead of, you know, I'd build I'd build boundaries, but they wouldn't be boundaries, they'd be walls. Boundaries really are where you have a fence, where there's a gate, so you can let good stuff in, but you can keep bad stuff out. So that's the point of having a boundary. The point is, I wanted to keep bad stuff out, but I wanted to let good stuff in and stuff. But there was also the risk that something about this could maybe not turn out right. Maybe something would go wrong. Maybe there would be some sort of disappointment and stuff. But I still had to make myself vulnerable enough to take the risk and take the chance. Now, I'm not saying just throw caution to the wind and just get out there and start dating any, you know, idiot you see. You have to vet the gentleman and all that stuff. But once you do, once you figure out that, yeah, maybe this is worth taking the risk. You know, you take a risk and it's a calculated risk. That's what you take. Once you figure that out, then you can see, well, maybe I'll let this person in. Maybe I'll become more vulnerable with them. That takes time. All of that takes time. Vulnerability, becoming more vulnerable may take some time. Intimacy takes time because intimacy comes from knowing. I have intimate relationships with my family members, but that's because we know each other. It's not an intimate relationship as in sexual. I'm not talking about sexual. I'm talking about a close relationship where we know each other, where I can be myself, where I can relax around them and stuff. And that sort of intimacy in a relationship may take some moments. It may take some time of you getting to know the person getting to know you and all this stuff. Now, it shouldn't take you 20 years to become intimate or to have an intimate relationship regarding your marriage or regarding, you know, a relationship that you have. That it shouldn't take that long. If you're doing that, all you've done is you just have walls. That's it. You're not anything. You just have walls, and that's all you have and stuff. But it may take some time for you to have those intimate moments to let that love in, you know. I cannot stress anymore how important it is, or how vital it is for you to make sure that you're doing the introspective part. That's where it starts. If you don't do introspection, the rest of the stuff you can't do. Just forget it. You know, you might as well just go on doing whatever you was doing. If you don't do the introspective part, if you don't start thinking about what it is about you that may not be able to receive love or to be able to give love the way that it should be given, then, you're just going to have some issues. You're just going to have some issues doing all the rest of this stuff, kind of figuring out how to get over the issues, kind of figuring out how to go out and take a chance, figuring out how to love yourself, figuring out how to be intimate and vulnerable with a person and stuff, and let some of your guard down and stuff, Hey, looking for love is great, Preparing for love is better, though. All this looking for love, I think people should be preparing for it. Because what's going to happen when you find the love of your life and he shows up and all this stuff, and you're really not ready to receive what it is that he has to give, or you're really not ready to give, what's supposed to be given in a relationship, which is unconditional love. You're not ready to do all that. All you're going to have is a big, messy relationship. He could be the best guy in the whole world. He could be fantastic. But if you're a big mess, you know what? Their relationship's going to be a big mess, and stuff. I mean, that's all that's going to happen. You're just going to make a big mess. One messy person with one person that's not messy, listen, the mess sort of takes over and stuff, And so you can't sort of come in like that, being ill-prepared and not ready, and stuff. Yeah, it's fine to be out there looking and searching and trying to find somebody and trying to, make sure that you're looking right and your hair is right and all that stuff. And it's great. All this, I love people with all this. Oh, let's do all this. Great. I love black women and all this. Well, let's do all this stuff on the outside. We love some outside crap, okay? And stuff. And I said, oh, we love some outside crap, but we totally ignore the inside, which is where really a lot of black women have some deep-seated issues, okay, and stuff. You know what? You could be the prettiest thing in the whole wide world, and I've seen pretty things all over TV, and they are truly some screwed-up broads on the inside, okay? I've seen that more than I could count on both hands, okay, and both feet. Both feet. How many beautiful black women I've seen on TV that are screwed up on the inside, okay, and stuff. It doesn't really matter about all this. You could be size 2 and, legs for days and beautiful and shapely and long flowing hair looking like Beyonce. But if you're screwed on the inside, it doesn't matter. Nobody's going to stay with you and you're screwed up. Nobody's going to treat you the way you're supposed to be treated, and you're screwed up on the inside. Nobody's going to be able to love you, and you're not going to be able to love anybody else if you're screwed up on the inside. That's all I have to say. All this about wearing some makeup and some nice clothes, yeah, that's great. But if you're screwed up on the inside, makeup and nice clothes is not going to hide it, okay? It's going to come out and stuff. So you need to be thinking about that thing, and you need to go ahead and look for some books and some things for you to read, not just things about the rules and stuff like that, which I think is great and all that stuff, but you need to be doing some other reading while you're doing that to try to figure out, how do I get myself prepped so when Mr. Wonderful shows up, I'm ready to receive him. I'm ready to, I'm ready to make this work. I'm ready to do the work for love. That's another part, is doing the work, because there's going to be ongoing work for the rest of your life to do this. And if you don't want to do the work, then you're not prepping for love. The work is as people change, as people grow, growing together, having similar goals, walking the path together in life and things, and stuff. So there's ongoing work. Are you ready to do the ongoing work? The stuff I'm talking about is just prep, it's just sort of prep stuff to kind of get you ready. What about the work that comes once you're together and once you're married and have a family? There's work to be done there. Are you ready for that work? Are you getting prepared to be able to do that work? Do you think that you could do the hard work? Because having a relationship or a marriage is not always sunshine and roses. There are many days that you think, really, you could just go away and never come back. You know, I mean, I'm for real. You know, there is stuff that's really, it can really be trying sometimes and stuff, you know. So how do you make it through the rough times and all the rough stuff that might happen? And as I said, there's lots of rough times. There are sad times, and there are times when you're angry, and there are times when things are disappointing. There are times when things don't work out and all that sort of stuff. So how do you get prepared for that and living with another human being and letting them be themselves, you know, and still feeling as if, not as if you have to keep them under lock and key because you think they're going to get away, but letting them be themselves and be free, and you be free, and still come back together and having a loving, healthy relationship. It's time to get prepped for love. While you're out there waiting, while you're sitting there talking about, I'm looking, blah, 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 you need to be talking about, I'm prepping, okay? Not looking, but prepping. Okay, so get prepared and stuff, and once you get prepared, really, it'll come. Don't worry, it'll come to you. What it is that you need, you know, or what it is that's supposed to be drawing to you will be drawing to you, and it'll happen exactly. I don't care what anybody says. Stuff happens exactly when it's supposed to happen. Okay, so I'll talk to you guys later on. I hope everybody has a good rest of your Saturday, and you know, have a good rest of the day, and I'll talk to you again pretty soon. Bye-bye.